Welcome to Comic Book Corner. I'm Dan Delatorre. Let's have a conversation about the Fantastic Four. The surrounding me, which you can't see, it's too messy. There's piles and piles of Fantastic Four books in my collection. I can't show all of them. It would take an hour or so. Even I wouldn't watch myself for over an hour. I wouldn't expect you guys to do the same thing. But I do want to talk about it because it was literally the most important team in all of Marvel. It's what started the Marvel Silver Age back in 1961. And the MCU, when they've revitalized the interest in comics by doing the MCU, starting with it was X-Men in 2000, and then Spider-Man in 2002, which is groundbreaking, no question about it. And they had a little pause for a while, but then the MCU really got started with Iron Man in 2008 with Robert Downey Jr. That was the real beginnings of the Kevin Feige MCU. They missed a couple things along the way, most notably Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four was a mainstay in Marvel regarding its story, the team itself, and there's a lot of gaps, that they had to sort of fill in, and they did the best they could with what they had. There were a couple of Fantastic Four movies beforehand, which were both awful. God, they were awful, especially the one with the most recent. It's not that recent, it's maybe 10, 15 years ago. I forget the star of that movie. He was a child. He was a young actor. That's not who Reed Richards was. Reed Richards was in the Silver Age, middle age, late 40s or mid early 40s, I guess. A very stoic individual, a very serious character. The trailer dropped about a week ago, and I've seen it. Um, it's okay. Can I tell if it's going to be a good movie or not? No, it's too early for that because I know what to look for. It looks okay, but we'll see what happens later on this year. Everyone knows that the MCU has to nail this. They have to nail this Fantastic Four movie because it is a main pillar of Marvel. But let's talk about some of the comics here. They're surprisingly undervalued. Reggie from Collects did a piece on this. I think Ryan from Automatic Comics did it too. So let's start here with my earliest one, and that's Fantastic Four #3. And I'm hoping the glare is okay. This is where it all starts here. If you can't get your hands on one or two, one is extremely expensive, even though that's underrated, undervalued. It would cost you at least 5,000, 6,000 for a low grade. This is a mid grade, although this could get better. It's a 3.5. I did not have Tony press and clean this. I didn't want this out of my sight because it is a really pretty book. So this is probably at least a 5.0, maybe more depending on the pressing and cleaning. I haven't decided if I want to get this pressed or not. But anyway, this will run you about $3,000 for this particular book and in this condition here. So that's where I would start. This is where the whole team starts with the costumes, the Baxter Building, and all the rest of it here. It's a cool book to have, and this one's signed by Stan Lee, so it's a lot more pricey because of the signature by Stan the Man himself. I do own what's called the Triad, and it's these guys here. I gotta be very careful because they're all very expensive. I do have Fantastic Four 48 and 49, and I also have 50 right here. So these are the three that you want to get your hands on. You want to get the Triad. Again, these are all very undervalued. Again, this is the first Silver Surfer and Galactus, not in Cameo. This is not. This is when he first started here, guys. And then here it is, 49. Mickey from Spyclaws. Mickey, I hope you're watching because you had said something on your channel. You said this is the best comic cover in all of Marvel. No, no, you're flat out wrong. It's a good cover, no question about it. But I've never thought this is the best cover in Marvel. This one is. You can't beat Silver Surfer #4. Beautiful John Romita cover. That's the most gorgeous, and that's saying a lot because there's a lot of gorgeous comics from the Silver and Bronze Age, but this is by far the most gorgeous one here. That's not going to be beat anytime soon. Mickey, I love you, man, but you got to pay attention to your elders here. I had to comment on your show. Shout out to Mickey Swagenhouse. Subscribe to his channel. He's got great content, and he's just a very, very nice man. I've met him a few times. But back to the Fantastic Four. This was the Triad is a big, big deal here. You got to start here. This is, in fact, this is when I restarted my collection. This is the first one I bought. Paid about $600 for it. It's in really pretty condition. Hasn't been slabbed for a reason, which I'll describe later. Then this one here, which everyone gravitated towards for whatever reason, 49. This is a full appearance of Galactus and so forth. It was a fabulous story. Again, this is why Stan Lee and the Bullpen literally dominated DC in the 60s, because the stories and the concepts and the art were far superior to what DC was proving. Now this one here, this is FF50. People like Comic Tom and Gem Mint have dumped on this cover for a year now. They're suddenly singing a different tune. They had a problem with the brown background. And I had no problem with this brown background. There's nothing wrong with any of that. They said the same thing about FF48. But if they're going to dump on that particular cover, why would you not dump on this one? This is a gorgeous Marie Severin cover. This is Tales to Astonish number 93. This is the first time the Silver Surfer goes outside the Fantastic Four, because Stan Lee loved this character, the Surfer, so he had strict restrictions regarding who could write for him, write for that character, and so forth. But again, the brown cover, I had no problem with it. So I'm just showing you these things because I've collected, obviously, for a long time, and you guys like to see what I have in my collection. And if you keep looking for these deals, and you have to keep looking. You have to keep looking. And eventually, the more time you put into this, the more you're going to get out of it. Other comics of note, this one was probably one of the best deals I've ever made, and that's Fantastic Four number 12. And this is not the first Thing versus Hulk battle. It's the first meeting. They throw a couple of punches, but nothing more than that. But this is a early 12 center. It's an apparent 1.5. It's a slab. I paid only $300 for this, and the reason why, it's the purple label. There's still this stigma that a purple label is not as good as all the others here, but because somebody just didn't want it, if it was a blue label, I probably would have paid over $1,000 for it. But $300, it presents beautifully well, and it's in my collection. Didn't pay that much for it, but I was searching and came up with these deals. So that's something you should keep an eye on. This is another one that, now that they're bringing the FF movie forward, if it's successful, it's going to branch off into all sorts of other things. So the Thing versus Hulk things were going to be popular at some point, because the Hulk is still here, and who is it is playing who's the actor? His name escapes me. But the Hulk is here, so that probably will branch off in probably 2 to 3 years, maybe longer. Here's the classic Fantastic Four number 25, Thing versus Hulk, classic Jack Kirby cover here. Look how small the Thing is in comparison to the Hulk. Now the Thing that they're portraying now, he looks pretty small. He's only about 6 foot in the comics, but he varies regarding size, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. I didn't take this out. Maybe I should. I've got 2 of them. Here's one here. It has a 5.0. It's really pretty white pages, but I upgraded recently to the 7.5 white pages Fantastic Four number 112. Another classic battle. But the Thing, this is a John Buscema cover. The same with the Silver Surfer 4. Look at the proportions. The Thing is much bigger. He's almost the size of the Hulk. This is a great battle if you can get your hands on it. These are kind of expensive books, but it's worth it if you find a really nice one. When I saw this one, my 5.0 white pages is nice. This is obviously prettier. This is way prettier. So I paid not that much for it, actually. Again, a good deal, maybe $300 or so. Totally worth it. It's gone up way much, and it's gone up in value. But for those that on a budget, there's some good ones here you can find. This one here. How about Fantastic Four 166, Thing versus Hulk battle again? This is very, very inexpensive. You can find this raw for $10. If you find a good copy here, get it slabbed and so forth. If you find a slabbed one, this wasn't very expensive. A 9.4 white pager, and then you have to follow up on with this one here. This is one of the few 9.8s I have in my collection, Fantastic Four number 167. Now, why you might want to look at these is because depending on who is writing the future stories for the Fantastic Four, and this is all under the assumption that the FF is going to be a great movie, and I'm assuming that it's going to be. As I said, it'll branch off into different storylines, because the Fantastic Four was a mainstay. They were a main pillar of comics for Marvel for decades. Someone at the MCU may look at the story. This takes place in St. Louis on the famous Arch. So that may happen. This may rise in value, and if not, it's just a great, cool story to have, and it doesn't cost you that much. So there's a whole variety of other comics I have here. I don't have time to show all of you everything here, but I just wanted to give you a flavor. Let's throw out one one more at least. And it's this one here. I had fallen in love with this cover when I first saw it. This is back in 1982. And I loved it so much, I bought a bunch of copies. I still have some of them, and they're still really in good condition, but I wanted one that was already slabbed, and I got this one for a very reasonable price, about $100. And it's a newsstand, and it's FF 243, classic and beautiful John Byrne cover of Fantastic Four versus everybody. And this is just profiled on Comic Tom as people that are, they're specking on this one here. But I'd get it just to get it because it's cool to have. And one, now that I think about it, there's still several Fantastic Four comics that are in the boxes. Again, I've already got piles and piles. I've only shown you a fraction of them. Maybe in future videos I'll expand on it as we get closer to the movie. And that was Fantastic Four number 323. I should have looked it up, damn it. It was a Thing versus Hulk battle, but it's the only Thing versus Hulk battle, and I always love those where the Thing actually wins. So, but it's really cool how they did this. It was a Steve Englehart story. Steve Englehart is one of my favorite writers in all of Marvel. He's terribly underrated. He's still alive. I met him not that long ago, last year at GalaxyCon in San Jose. So he's a very interesting man. So there's that's a spec on. But again, I wanted to comment on the FF movie because a lot is writing on this, and it's been rewritten and rewritten again and changed. So we'll see what the final result is. One thing I don't care for is that they're saying that this is from out of the 616 universe. That's our universe. Why this numerical universe thing came into being in the first place kind of bugs me. Who came up with 616? Why? How that's all happening? The multiverse and so forth. They're saying this is from another universe, the Fantastic Four. So they're going to somehow come to this universe. It doesn't make any sense to me, but anyway, we'll see how this all plays out. But anyway, that's the quick video here for the Fantastic Four. If you're interested, leave me a comment, like, comment, subscribe. And I respond to everybody, by the way. If you have any questions whatsoever regarding what to look for, what sort of condition and so forth, I've been collecting for almost 50 years. And so I just had a birthday the other day, so I'm getting closer to that 50-year anniversary. So I have a lot of knowledge in my head. I'm happy to give it to all of you. Thanks for joining. This is Comic Book Corner. I'm Dan Del Torre, and we will see you next time.